And that whistle will take us into jam number 1 of our first game today. We've got Wackula taking on Snake Gyllenhaal off that Violent Femme jammer line. Nice drawback there by Ursula. Wackula back behind the jammer line. Snake trying to battle against that bootlegger defense, not finding an opening. Both jammers pushing it down, turn number 2, and that is Wackula that picks up lead jammer status there for the boots. Snake also out of the pack, both jammers eligible for points. So 0 points there for the boots and 0 for the regulators. First jam, complete, no points on the board. That is Grizzly taking on Crazy Daisy, all the Z's. Daisy up that inside line. Does pick up lead jammer status very quickly there for the regulators. Grizzly with the star stash, but manages to withstand the last hit. Crazy Daisy picks up the 3 and calls it. Does prevent the boots from putting any on the board. We'd like to thank Peak Auto for sponsoring our penalty box today. Peak Auto specializes in European auto services and repairs for the entire Apex and Cary area. They are locally owned and operated with factory-trained technicians on staff. That is Oxford Coma taking on Snake Gyllenhaal. Both jammers battling up to turn number 1. Pack loosens up a little bit around the apex. Several whistles blown there. And Ox up the inside. Finally gets out there on that far stretch. Quick star pass there on the regulator side. That is Ursula now jammer of record. Ox looking to get through the defense. Here comes Ursula around that outside. Does pick up the 4-point pass. Ox gets a little tap into the infield as the boots are heavily occupying the Peak Auto penalty box. Ox will go ahead and call that off. Still 2 blockers in the box as we start this next jam. Regulators with 7 on the board. The boots have 2. That whistle takes us into jam number 4. That's Furious George taking on Crazy Daisy. Very big track advantage there for the regulators. Crazy Daisy able to take advantage of that track advantage. George pushes through the defense as well. So Crazy Daisy called that off. 0-0 jam. Crazy Daisy going to head right back out to that Violent Femme jammer line. The boots send Wackula out to that jammer line to take on Crazy Daisy. Nice little shoulder tap there by Fright, trying to keep Crazy Daisy from going up the inside. Wackula able to find an exit out the front of the pack. Does pick up lead jammer. Crazy Daisy also out of the pack. Woo! Wackula getting a big recycle there from Bruce Cruz. Crazy Daisy on the inside. Picks up the full 4. Wackula also with 4 on the board. Wackula's going to go ahead and call that off. Have one blocker apiece in that Peak Auto penalty box as we start the next jam. Grizzly taking on Snake Gyllenhaal. That is Grizzly out the inside. Does find an opening out the front of the pack. Picks up lead jammer status. Snake still looking for a way through that defense. As Grizzly comes in on a scoring pass. Finds an open outside lane. Only 2 blockers out there for the boot. Snake is able to shake them off. Get out of the pack. That's the initial pass there for Snake. Grizzly calling it from the floor. Picks up an additional 2. Bootleggers are now at 9 at the Richland County's 11. Ash Reckham taking on Oxford Coma on that Violent Femme jammer line. Nice little tap out there by Magpie and another tap out by Furby Fatal. Both jammers getting recycled back. And so Ash actually exited the pack first, but did not have the cap on the helmet. And so you can't pick up lead if you do not have their cap on. So Ox did pick up the lead there and call it very quickly. So that was a 0-0 jam. Just nice to reset. So looks like we do have a lead change on the board. That is the boot sitting at 13. Regulators at 11. Whoa. So it looked like a legal procedure there, Colin. I think that had to do with the door. So when you have a penalty on your team, your captain has to have a seat. So we're just going to swap out a few bodies here. So now we have Ursula wearing the star there for the Regulators. That's Furious George on the line for the boots. Now, Ursula has already picked up lead, got one blocker to beat, does exit the pack. Regulators with control of the track. Nice half a lap in front of the boots. George makes it out. Now skating quickly around, trying to catch up with Ursula. Ursula through the pack, picks up the full 4. And will actually pick up a penalty for skating into the midfield. So quick penalty there at the very end of that jam. We have had another lead change. It's 15-13 in favor of the Regulators.
Stand!
So for this power start, the Bootleggers have elected to field Wacula. Pack is moving around. Turn number 2. And Wacula on 1 foot manages to, just barely stay in bounds. Does pick up lead jammer status there for the Boots. Very nice penalty kill there by the Regulators, able to get Ursula out of that Peak Auto penalty box. Now Ursula out of the penalty box does have to pick up the initial pass before the Regulators can put points on the board. Wacula getting held up by that Regulator defense, but finally exits, does pick up the full 4. Wacula taking a look at the bench. They're saying call it. So they do.
Wherever you want to sit. Except, staring into the projector because we care about your eyes.
It's a very slight track advantage for the Regulators as we head into jam number 10. That is Snake Gyllenhaal taking on Oxford Coma. And it's Ox that comes out of the pack victorious. That's lead jammer. Snake not going to let it go without trying. Snake keeping on the pressure. Ox gets the signal to call it and does so. So we're still sitting at the Bootleggers with 17, Regulators at 15. We're just under 18 minutes here. This is our first half.
So we can't non-skate anymore.
Crazy Daisy back on the line, facing off against Grizzly. Crazy Daisy ricocheting inside, finds the outside, and gets out his lead. Grizzly also out of the pack. Crazy Daisy just going to go ahead and call that and reset the whole thing. 0-0 jam. Head into the next jam. Nice bump out there. I think that was Furby Fatal with a nice little escort to Wacula off the edge there. Woo, my goodness. Snake Gyllenhaal with the star on there for the Regulators, pushing against the last defender from the Boots. Does get out and pick up that lead. Wacula getting a full drawback here by Blues Cruise. Snake coming up against a really tough tripod there, decides to call it off. Does pick up 3, so that puts the Regulators out front again. 18-17 with under 16 minutes here left in our first half. That is Crazy Daisy and Furious George. Crazy Daisy, quick pickup there before the pivot line. That was a very nice stop by Scare Bear. Crazy Daisy able to just shake off the defense. Picks up a quick 4 points there at turn number 1. George able to get a little assist there. Gets out of the pack there. That's the initial for Furious George. So Crazy Daisy going to pick up the 3 and go ahead and call that off. 7-point run there for the Regulators. We do have a timeout being called by the Regulators. I want to make sure to shout out our nonprofit partner joining us today, Food Not Bombs Raleigh. Food Not Bombs Raleigh is a local chapter of an autonomous collective that gathers and distributes food wherever it is needed in our community. FNB believes that food is a right, not a privilege, and we have a plenty to share. Please leave your contributions to our shared vegan food drive at their table at our vendor area, the opposite side of the scoreboard in our venue. If you would like to see all the names and photos of all these fabulous people on the track, we do have a digital bout program page with team rosters and other game information. Use your phone camera to scan one of the QR codes posted around the rink to view the program. We have a total reset here. Jammer lineup we've seen before. This is Grizzly and Crazy Daisy. And Crazy Daisy finding that inside line. Does pick up lead Jammer. Grizzly also out of the pack. Crazy Daisy does get into that pack, picks up 2 there, calls the jam. I think we have 2 points there. Yeah, 2 points for the Regulators. We're sitting at 17-27 with just at 14 minutes left here in our first half. That whistle will take us into jam number 15. Wahula taking on Snake Gyllenhaal. Wahula will pick up a quick penalty there before the pivot line. Power jam here for the Regulators. Snake out of the pack with that lead jammer status and control on this power jam. Regulators releasing one blocker, sending another blocker to the Peak Auto penalty box. Snake with 4 on the board so far. Boots defense set up there. A couple of people released from the penalty box, but we still have a couple of blockers. So 1 blocker down each team as we head into the next jam. So we do have an official timeout for just a second here. Just need to clarify a couple of points. Make sure we've got everything absolutely correct before we head into our next jam. That's Furby taking the Final FM Jammer line against Oxford Coma. It is Ox out of the pack first. Both jammers out of the pack on the initial pass. Ox through that pack, I do believe picked up 2 points there. 2 points, says the jam ref.
Behind you. The pivot was coming back to the top.
So it does look like we are getting an official review called by the Carolina Bootleggers. Just a recap. Official review, Regulators. We have an official review.
Take that out there. Find out what they're doing. I don't have a, oh, there's a clipboard right here. Darby's got one for you. Clipboard for you. Clipboard for you.
Is there a pen on it?
Got it, yeah.
So just a recap that last jam as we're waiting for our officials to do their officiating. 3 points total for the Boots, and so that brings the Boots to 20. The Regulators with 33, right at 11 and a half minutes. We'll wait for our officials to review the evidence of the review. Review the evidence of the review. Yep. That's what I said. You will definitely want to complete your roller derby swag collection today and swing by the Carolina merch table. We have new collegiate sweatshirts and a brand new shirt design available.
I mean, Derby makes it a lot better.
It does.
Really sweeten the pot a little bit.
Also, last week I saw you were on a scooter scoop. Are you doing better now?
Yeah. Gonna get pushed on tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant. I like
See if they'll let me start skating this. Yeah.
Love it.
Geez, I hope I was shooting last year.
It's been a while. It's been a minute. I've been
So that rolling whistle does tell us that the official review has concluded. If we have any information on that, we'll sure share it. Grizzly taking on Snake. A matchup we've seen several times today. Both jammers get a little tap into the infield and recycled back. That is Grizzly out of the pack first. Nice drawback there by Scar. Brings Snake way back to the jammer line. Now you're seeing Skato with the drawback. Grizzly puts another 4 on the board. Star pass there on the Regulator side. Bruce Clues now with a star. Grizzly through the pack for another run. So now Bruce Clues is out of the pack. That's the initial pass there for Bruce. Grizzly through the pack for an additional 4. 12-point run there for the Boots. We're back at a 1-point game, my friends. Highest scoring jam so far today. is Wackula taking on Ash Reckham off that Violent Femme jammer line. Both jammers getting held up by some really amazing tripods out there, but it's Wackula that finds an opening. Ash looking for any seam there for the initial trip. Wackula now engaging with that defense as well as we head around turn number 2. Nice drawback there by Furby, but here comes Wackula into the pack again. Furby trying to get out in front. Wackula slides on the inside, picks up 4 there. Ash gets a little tap into the infield. That looked like Scrappy Hour, I think, yes? Nice assist there by Hex. Opens up the lane there for Wackula to pick up an additional 4. Wackula around the outside finds an opening. Does pick up an additional 4. We have taken a full trip around this track as we head across the Violent Femme jammer line. Wackula finds that open lane. Now we've had a star pass there for the Regulators. Ivy Sedation, jammer of record, as Wackula comes in on the last pass. Wow, 16 points there. That is the biggest jam so far today. 48-33 in favor of the Bootleggers. We're ticking down to right at 7.5 minutes here in our first half. Furious George taking on Crazy Daisy. Crazy Daisy pushes through a seam, does pick up that lead jammer status.
Nobody heard anything.
Crazy Daisy withstanding all of the blocking there, manages to get through the pack and picks up 4. George out there with a star stash, does get out of the pack. That's the initial trip for George. Crazy Daisy avoids the last minute swing, picks up an additional 4. Regulators at 41, Boots at 48. Ivy Sedation wearing the star there for the Regulators. That's Grizzly on the jammer line for the Boots. Pack very locked down. Furby trying to get out in front of Grizzly, but Grizzly avoids the hit. Does get out of the pack, picks up lead jammer there for the Boots. Ivy still looking for a way on that initial trip. Boots doing a good job of hanging on to Ivy. We're on the far straightaway. Grizzly looking for a way through that Regulator defense. Almost through, but gets a tap out at the last minute. Will be recycled. Grizzly around the outside does pick up an additional 4. Grizzly on the outside does pick up another 4 there.
Everybody's a blocker. Everybody's a blocker. Everybody's a blocker. Everybody's a blocker.
They can take the 3.
So Grizzly stumbles out of the front, does pick up an additional 4. And that is the end of that jam.
Yeah, and that's what that's why I'm like, I feel pretty.
We're ticking down to 4 minutes left here in our first half. 12-point run there for Grizzly. Brings the Boots at 60. Regulators sit at 41. Wackula and Crazy Daisy back on that Violent Femme jammer line. Oh, nice move on the inside. Wackula does pick up lead. Crazy Daisy needs the initial trip here. Pack held up at turn 1. Wackula trying to do a little apex hop, but didn't quite land it fully. Will be recycled back. Crazy Daisy now on the initial trip, completed the initial trip. Wackula getting the signal from the bench to call it off. Does so, but not before picking up 4 points. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left on our clock here in the first half of our first game today. Snake taking on Ox. Ox slides in that inside lane, does pick up lead, but here comes Snake keeping on the pressure. That will force the call off. We'll be set here for another jam. And we will have an official timeout called just so we can get some things settled. Do you love roller derby? Of course you do. Do you want to be a part of the derby community? Absolutely. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or check out our website at carolinarollerderby.com to sign up for our next new skater program. All right, just for your information, we always have to make sure safety is a priority. So when we have to have at least a medic watching the track at all times. So sometimes we have to take a short break to get a medic available for us. Crazy Daisy taking on Grizzly off that Violent Femme jammer line. Crazy Daisy already picks up lead. One blocker to beat. Spins around Scar. Gets out of the pack. Grizzly getting a little drawback here. Oh, a little confusion there in the pack allows Grizzly to get through with the star stash. Crazy Daisy getting the signal from the bench to call it. Does pick up a full 4 on that pass. 64-45 in favor of the Bootleggers. As Wackula up the outside run, does pick up lead very quickly there. Snake Gyllenhaal with the star there for the Regulators. Looking for the initial trip through that pack. Wackula finds an opening. 4 points on the board. Snake locked down in that really tough defense. Wackula manages to find an opening. Don't know how in that glom of bodies. Snake coming in now. Wackula through. Four additional points there for Wackula. We have had a star pass there too, Ash, for the Regulators. Wackula, whoa! Yep. So Wackula ran out of bounds, but in front of the pack, so can come back in front of the pack, doesn't have to go back around that defense again. Ash looking for some way through that defense, which is very, very strong. Last little shoulder tap there from Snake. Sends Wackula out of bounds here at turn 4. And think Wackula was able to pick up, yes, 4 points on that last little trip here. We are at intermission. That was a 20-point run from the Boots. Very high scoring jam. 84-45 as we head into intermission. You want to make sure that you stretch your legs, but come right back and pick up your seat so you can watch the second half. Alrighty, friends, we're going to get a few more folks into place, and we'll head into the second half. So we're looking at Crazy Daisy taking on Wackula off that Violent Femme jammer line. Nice draw back there by Scrappy Hour. Opens up the pack a little bit, but Crazy Daisy able to find that inside track lane. Gets out, does pick up lead jammer status for the Regulators. Wackula getting recycled behind that four wall. Crazy Daisy shakes up the defense. Does get out, picks up four there. Furby trying to get a hip on Wackula, but Wackula makes that initial trip. Crazy Daisy getting the signal to call it from the bench and does so. Picks up one additional point on that trip for 5 total. They keep the Boots scoreless on that jam. Grizzly back on the jammer line facing off against Snake Gyllenhaal. Ooh. Oh my goodness, both jammers are out. Toe to toe, but it is Snake that is declared. Nope. Nope. So we had just a quick call off. We'll just reset the whole thing. And so we have an official review called there by the Regulators. And while our friends are discussing this, we would love to give a big shout out to everyone who volunteered their time today to make this bout possible, including our referees and non-skating officials, our photographers, our medical professionals, etc., all the folks. We would not have a bout without our folks to make sure everybody is safe, taken care of, and appears in great photos, right? Okay. Thank you, especially Larry, Michael, Nia, and Bear for your time and expertise this evening. We appreciate you.
We can do it inside.
So after this game, we do have the awarding of most valuable player. We have one for a blocker and one for a jammer. Super cute awards. Then we have a whole other game after this one. So I think we're going to get some more information here. As our officials reset. All right. So we just took a moment to reset some things, make sure it's all correct. But we're going to head into the next jam. Furious George taking on Crazy Daisy. Oh, Crazy Daisy quickly through that pack, finds an opening. Completes that initial trip. Now coming back in on a scoring trip. Oh my goodness. What a nice bob and weave there for Crazy Daisy. Picks up 4. George getting a little assist there by Magpie, but the Regulators close it down quickly. George now pushing against the pack. Does exit. That's the initial for George. So Crazy Daisy just going to go ahead and call that off. Does pick up an additional 2 there. $84-56. The Regulators chipping away at that bootlegger lead. Ticking down to right at 26 and a half minutes here in our second half. Wackula taking on Snake Gyllenhaal off that Violent Femme jammer line. And Wackula emerges as lead jammer there for the Boots. Snake still looking for the initial trip. Wackula, wow. Finds an opening. Picks up 4. Nice little drawback there by Scrappy Hour. Wackula gets a little invitation to the infield. Only 2 blockers out there to contend. One Boots blocker headed to the Peak Auto penalty box. Now we're kind of even on blockers. Wackula able to push through, picks up 4. Wackula, oh, on the outside. Struggles a little bit with slipping, does go out of the turn 4. Comes in, gets behind the defense, does pick up the 4. Quick star pass there for Regulators. Ash Reckham is the one with the star right now. Wackula's going to go ahead and call that off. After that final 4, that's another 20-point run there for the Boots. That brings them over the 100-point mark, 104-56. 24 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock here in our second half. Crazy Daisy back on the line, taking on Grizzly. Grizzly gets a little drawback there by Ursula. Allows the pack to spread out enough for Crazy Daisy to get out as lead jammer status there for the Regulators. Woo! Kroll holding off the defense so Grizzly can recycle. Meanwhile, Crazy Daisy out of the pack for 4. Hex keeping a hip on Crazy Daisy. Now the Regulators setting up a nice tripod there. Hanging on to Grizzly. Crazy Daisy with that 4-point pass, now coming into the pack again for a scoring trip. Scar with a little tap out. Crazy Daisy comes in, manages to pick up another 4. Grizzly with the blocker to beat does get out. Now that is the initial for Grizzly. Crazy Daisy getting the signal from the bench to call it off. Does pick up 2 on that last little trip for a total of 14 points. That brings the Regulators to 70. More importantly, hold the boots scoreless on that jam. Oxford Coma and Snake Gyllenhaal on that Violent Femme jammer line. The inside lane opens up and Ox is through it. Picks up lead jammer status there for the boots. Snake tries to follow the same path but gets a hip check there. Escorted into the infield. Recycled all the way back to the jammer line. Ox is in on a scoring trip now. And Ox makes it through and does call it off. Just trying to see a lot of nice assists out there. Offensive work, opening up the tripod. Wackula taking on Crazy Daisy. Wow, both jammers working the whole wall backwards and forwards, but the blockers just spread out, preventing any motion forward. Wackula gets tapped out of the infield there on turn number 1. Crazy Daisy now with 1 blocker to beat. Now 2. And Wackula of the inside just by a toe manages to get out ahead of Crazy Daisy. So Daisy's going to keep that pressure on to force the call off. That's a 0-0 jam. Snake Gyllenhaal taking on Grizzly. And it looks like Grizzly emerges from that pack first. Picks up lead jammer status there for the boots. Grizzly into that tripod. Gets a little hip check there for Kirby. Wow. Grizzly opening up that seam. Snake looking for a way out on the initial trip as Grizzly comes in on that scoring pass. Grizzly through again, picks up 4. Woo. Grizzly trying to go through, but a little tap out there by Bruce. Grizzly will be recycled. Meanwhile, Snake, look, oh my goodness, little pile up there. Everybody up, that's good news. So, yes, okay, we got the initial trip there for the Regulators. Star pass happening there. That's Violence. Van Gogh with the star. Grizzly right there behind Violence. We'll go ahead and call that off. Point run there for the Bootleggers. Ticking down to just over 17 minutes here in our second half. Ursula back on the line for the Regulators. That's Furious George wearing the star for the Boots. And George around the outside picks up lead jammer status. Ursula trying to get through the defense and makes the initial trip. George working against that defense, getting the signal from the bench to call it. George is able to put 2 on the board. Crazy Daisy and Wackula back on that Violent Femme jammer line. Whew. So Wackula does make it through, but Crazy Daisy hot on, manages to pass Wackula. Now Wackula going on the inside. Both jammers coming into that pack. Wackula refusing to call that one. Knew the points could be had. Crazy Daisy also picking up points as well. 4-4 on that trip. Woo. Crazy Daisy with 2 blockers to beat, gets a little shoulder tap there out of the near straightaway. That's Skella with the shoulder tap and the drawback. Wackula looking for a way through as well, gets tapped out on the same straightaway. And now, wow, Wackula manages to avoid the hips of Ash Reckham and gets out for 4. So Wackula picking up the extra 4 there. Does look like the Regulators put 3 on the board on the last trip. So 12-7 run on that last jam. That brings us to 134-77 in favor of the Bootleggers. Just at 14 minutes here left in our second half. Ursula back on the jammer line for the Regulators. That's Oxford Coma wearing the star for the Bootleggers. And Ursula on that inside lane does pick up lead jammer, but there comes Ox, keeping the pressure on. Both jammers coming around quickly. Ursula coming in, making the call off, not sure, nope. So in order to make the points, your hips have to pass the hips of another player. And so didn't quite get there. 0-0 run. We do have a timeout being called by the Regulators. So you want to make sure that you've got in your calendar that we have a game right after this. 7 p.m. whistle. The Panhandle United here to visit with us today, and they will be playing the Carolina Roller Derby All-Stars. I want to also give a really big shout out to one of our sponsors, Spark Physical Therapy and Performance. Don't let physical setbacks stop you from living your best life. From sports injuries to post-op rehab, Spark PT can offer treatments and plans to help you get back to the activities you love. That's Spark PT. Recover faster, perform better. Snake Gyllenhaal back on that line for the Regulators, but George finding an open lane, runs right through it, picks up lead. Snake getting a little recycle here. So George will pick up a penalty and head to the Peak Auto penalty box. This is a power jam here for Snake. Lead jammer will be rescinded. We'll go the full 2 minutes here on this jam. Star pass there for the Regulators. Ursula now out there with the star for the Regulators. Completed the initial. Ursula getting a little tap out there by Scare Bear. Being recycled. Here comes George now out of the penalty box. Through on the inside, slips by the defense. So does pick up 4 on that pass, and Ursula also out with 4. George getting a little drawn back here by Bruce Cruz. Meanwhile, Ursula in there engaging with that defense. Additionally, 3 points for the Regulators, a 4-point pass there for the Boots. 8-7 in favor of the Bootleggers. 142-84. 10 minutes, 43 seconds left on the clock here in our second half. That is Furby wearing the star there for the Regulators. Ox back on the line there for the Boots. Ox out of the pack first. Furby getting a recycle here by Scrappy. Ox coming into the defense. Ox making it through. Puts up 4 on the board. Furby looking for a way through the pack. The defense keeps closing down the lane. Now Ox back in. Manages to battle through the pack. Pack is just a glom of folks here. And Ox will pick up a cut track. Head to the penalty box. This will be a power jam for the Regulators. Again, we will have that lead rescinded, and we'll go the full 2 minutes here. Quick star pass there on the Regulators side. We've got Ash now, jammer of record for the Regulators. Ash gets a little shoulder check there by, I think that was Skella, yeah. A little quick adjustment to the equipment. And now Ash is back in. Now Ox has been released from the box. Does pick up 4. We'll have a timeout being called by the Bootleggers. Wow. Energy. They had an energy drink.
That sounds a little bit like that, doesn't it?
Thinking about that.
After both games today, if you would like to meet our skaters, be sure to stick around and meet at the scoreboard. You might even be able to get an autograph. MVPs first, then autographs. That rolling whistle tells us that the timeout is over. That is Snake Gyllenhaal taking on. Wow, Grizzly couldn't even say it. Grizzly's already out of the pack with the lead jammer status. Oh, nice backward skating there for Snake. Does get out of the pack on the initial trip. Grizzly through, picks up 4, is going to go ahead and call it off. Very, very quick jam. Seven minutes, 50 seconds left on the clock. Furious George taking on Crazy Daisy. Woo! Crazy Daisy around that outside line. Nice assist there from Scare Bear to shoot George out of the pack. On the initial trip, Crazy Daisy is the lead jammer, going to come into the pack. Probably going to pick up a point or 2 and call it. Let's see. 0, no points picked up on that jam. That is Snake Gyllenhaal taking on Wackula. Wackula does push out to the front of the pack. Picks up that lead. Snake locked down in the defense there. And now Snake finds that inside line. Does get out. That's the initial trip for Snake. Wackula will pick up 4 on that pass. And we'll call it off there. But 1 point put on the board for the Regulators. 5 minutes, 40 seconds left here in our second half. And that whistle takes us into jam number 17. That is Crazy Daisy taking on Grizzly. Grizzly exits the pack, picks up that lead. Daisy getting a little recycle here. And wow, Grizzly comes through, picks up the 4. Daisy does get out of the pack there. That's the initial. Grizzly picks up the 4, calls it off. Eight-point run there for the Boots. Under 4.5 minutes here, our second half. Oxford Coma taking on Violence Van Gogh off the Violent Femme jammer line. Why Violence is really contending with that tripod. Ox gets out of the pack finally after it gets stretched out so far. Lots of whistles being blown there. Going to see some bodies head to that Peak Auto penalty box. Meanwhile, Ox is going to go ahead and pick up 4 points. We might almost full penalty box, not quite. So yeah, so 4 there on that last trip. So 8 total there for the Boots. Probably need an official. Oh no, we have a team timeout. A team timeout being called by the Regulators. Yep. Want to again give a shout out to our sponsor, Peak Auto. Peak Auto specializes in European auto services and repairs for the entire Apex and Cary area. They are locally owned and operated with factory-trained technicians on staff. Bring your vehicle or dealership quality service by Peak Auto at one of their locations: Apex, Cary, Raleigh, Holly Springs, and Fuquay-Varina. So right at the end of that last jam, we did have a jammer penalty for the Regulators. And so now we have a power start for the Bootleggers. Wackula, jammer of record there for the Boots, has already picked up lead. Wackula with a few seconds left here to do some work. So Wackula sees a small lane open up there on the inside, takes it. Four points so far on the board there for the Boots. Violence is out of the penalty box, engaging with that defense. Boots doing a good job of hanging on to the jammer. Woo! Big pile up there, but everyone gets up and is okay. So now we have had a star pass for the Regulators to Ursula, but Wackula will go ahead and call that off. 1 minute warning here, friends. 190.85 in favor of the Bootleggers. And so that's Snake Hillenhall taking on Grizzly. This is a pair we've seen several times today. Grizzly emerges this time as lead jammer. Snake also out of the pack. The Grizzly going to get through, I think, able to get all the way through for 4, but we'll look at our jam referee. So 4 full points there for Grizzly. And we will have a timeout being called. Love it. We can start a whole new jam with just 1 second. And we are going to do that. All right, that rolling whistle tells us that the timeout has concluded. We will head into jam number 21. All we need is just 1 little second, and it's Crazy Daisy. Exits the pack first, does pick up that lead jammer status. That's Furious George with the star on there for the Boots. Getting a nice hip assist there. Cannot see from whom. Crazy Daisy through the pack, does pick up 4 points there. George getting a little hip assist. I think that was Scare Bear that gave the hip assist. Crazy Daisy gonna go ahead and call it off, picks up at another point. 5 points total there for the Regulators on that run. Our unofficial score now is 190-90. So we have to check everything out before we declare this official. But once we declare this official, we would like to invite you all up trackside So you can slap the hands of your favorite derby leagues here. And that rolling whistle tells us that we have our final score. So bootleggers, take your victory lap. And let's give a... Here they come. And let's give a big, big rowdy applause for our regulators that have traveled to visit us today and gave us such a great game. Appreciate you, regulators.
Coaches and captains for game 2, please come to the scoreboard. Coaches and captains for game 2, please come to the scoreboard.
I don't care about these.
We need coaches and captains. Coaches and captains, come on over here. So players, we're going to award MVPs, but I'm on a wired microphone, so you're going to have to come here, okay? I can't go there. All right? So for the Richland County Regulators, your MVP jammer is number 7, Crazy Daisy. Come on over here, Daisy. Come here to the... Come here. Okay. All right. Your MVP blocker is number 22, Furby Fatal. For your Carolina Roller Derby Bootleggers, your MVP jammer is number 18, Furious George. And your MVP blocker is number 997, Skella. So get your little thing and make sure to stare and look at the person with the camera. There, okay, there you go. Do you guys want a team's picture? Do you want team's picture? Anything like that? Okay, we're gonna get a team's picture, I think. But we want to clear out of the boxes if we can. Hey, I'm Rippin' Longstocking. I've been your host. Come on back because we have another game. Thank you so much.
but the ring is over there.
I did one wheelchair. One guy.
So just to give you a quick update on time, it of course is imperative that we allow everybody time to warm up. So we're going to give everybody their full warm-up time. So we'll be about a couple minutes behind here, our regular time of 7 p.m. For those of you who are joining us for the first time this evening, welcome, welcome. And for those of you sticking around for game 2, welcome back. Get ready for the hits, so keep on coming. So it's time to hit the ground running as our Carolina All-Stars square up against Panhandle United of Florida to close out tonight's doubleheader. So I'll be telling you who's going to be taking the track wearing the light colored jerseys this evening. Panhandle United. Let's give a nice round of applause for Panhandle for being here. Appreciate you. Skating in the light colored jersey is 03 Packs a Punch. 1029 Nick Vicious. 103 Annie Mall. 18 Scoot Scolari. 211 Whitney Houston. 22 Titanium Whip. 33 Beanie Babe. 333 Jessica Rabid. 35 Fighter Jet. 4 Alexander Slamilton. 42 Resting Hit Face. 585 Just Mary. 7 Mitchie Gangster. 9999 Animaniac. Let's give a round of applause. That's your Panhandle United. And skating for the Carolina Roller Derby All-Stars tonight in the dark colored jerseys, we have number 10 KO. 111 Malice. 112 Ash Whoopin. 15 Danny Banani. 203 Littlefoot. 252 Flannable Lecter. 33 Bag of Cats. 34 Elastic Ass. 416 Cleo Smack Ya. 47 Beverly Crusher. 48 Armadillo. 603 Crab King Fod. 676 Squishy. No Squishy. 750 Fanny Pack a Punch. 888 Rugburn. And 99 Problems. Let's get another round of applause for your Carolina Roller Derby All-Stars. All right, and we'll invite our officials to take the track, and we'll get set up for jam number 1. And that whistle will take us into the first jam. We're watching Malice taking on Animaniac off that Violent Femme jammer line. Animaniac out quickly before they even get to the second turn. Malice also out of the pack. So Animaniac's going to go ahead and call that off. 4 points on the board for Panhandle. So that was so Annie Mall taking on Elastic there off that Violent Femme jammer line as we head into jam number 2. Wow, Annie Mall out of the pack. Elastic trying to catch up, and he's going to go ahead and call that off. No points on that jam. Panhandle All-Stars still need to get on the board. But we're only a minute and a half here in this first half. And that's just Mary wearing the star for Panhandle. Bag of Cats. Jammer for Carolina. Cats picks up the first lead this half for Carolina. Cats in on a scoring trip. Looking to get past the last blocker. Gets a little shoulder tap out of bounds. Cats will call it. Not sure if Panhandle was no points for Panhandle there. 3 points for the All-Stars. So 3-4 there in favor of Panhandle United. Malice on the line for Carolina finds a quick opening out of the pack first before they even get to the pivot line. Fighter Jet wearing the star there for Panhandle United, looking for a way on that initial trip. Malice gets a little tap out there by resting hit face. Woo! Gets recycled back, hits the infield. Very quick star pass there. We have Whitney Houston with the star now. Mal's going to go ahead and call it. Does pick up 2 on that trip. Animaniac now facing off against Elastic, but very quickly off that Violent Femme jammer line. Animaniac already out of the pack. Elastic trying to keep on the pressure here. Very, very fast skating around the track as Animaniac comes into the pack. Will get past at least 3 blockers. Does pick up those 3 points. Keeps Elastic from putting it on the board. That's a 7 points, 3-point run, 7-point total there for Panhandle United. Animal back on the line there for Panhandle. That's a bag of Cats. Wearing the star again for Carolina. Defense is locked up there at turn 1. Getting a little offensive. Both teams getting doing great on offense, but just not able to shake loose that defense. Cats emerges out of that scrum of bodies. does pick up that lead jammer status there for Carolina. We have had a star pass now. That's Whitney Houston, jammer for Panhandle. And a cut track will be assessed to Cats. Lead will be rescinded. We'll go the full 2 minutes here. Cats will have a seat in that Peak Auto penalty box as Whitney Houston now trying to get through the pack. Defense locked up, does finally escort Whitney out of bounds. Big recycle there to turn 2. So Danny and Punch there locked down on Whitney, unable to shake off that, just locked down. Really nice job, Carolina, killing the penalty there. Cats now back on the track. Everyone locked down here at turn 3. No movement, no movement. Cats finds some kind of opening there on the inside. Gets out for 4, and that is the end of that jam. Whew, that made me tired. 4 points there for Carolina, puts them out ahead by 2. That's 9-7 in favor of the Carolina All-Stars. Ticking down to 23 minutes here. This is our first half. Malice with the star on. Wow, comes from behind out of that pack and picks up lead, but it will be a forearm assessed to Just Mary wearing the star for Panhandle. This is a power, oh no, we'll do a jammer swap now. Malice will also head to the box. So for those of you who have never seen a jammer swap, jammers can only serve the same amount, so Just Mary will exit and then Malice will serve exactly the same amount of time that Just Mary did. So we don't have any time elapsed on the track without a jammer there. So again, of course, lead will be rescinded. We'll go the full 2 minutes here. Malice 3 for 4. Just Mary now coming in on a scoring trip, picks up 4. Just going to run this down for the remainder of this jam. Malice 3 for 4. Just Mary's got to get in one more time to match the jam. Just Mary for 4. Even run so far on this jam. Malice 3 for 4. Both defenses prepped for those jammers. Fatigue is a serious consideration here. 2 minutes doesn't seem long, but it is. Woo! Malice gets escorted out of bounds right at the end of that jam, but manages to pick up 2 additional points. 3 for Panhandle. I believe we might have a tie jam. Nope, 14-11 in favor of Carolina, so it's hit at 23-18. 20 minutes, 37 seconds left on the clock here in our first half. Fight Her Jet taking on Elastic. Wow, that defense is just hanging on to the jammers. Elastic pushes through on the front of the pack finally gets out. Completes the initial trip, not the scoring trip. Apologies. There's a scoring trip. Quick star pass now for Panhandle. Is that Titanium? I think that's Titanium. Titanium through for 4. One additional point from Elastic. 5-4 run in favor of Carolina on that jam. That's Anna Maniac taking on Bag of Cats. Off the Violent Femme jammer line. Both jammers, very frenetic jammers. But it's Anna Maniac that exits first. Picks up lead jammer there for Panhandle United. Anna Maniac through the pack. Picks up the 4 and calls it. That jam puts PanU in within 2 points of Carolina. Annie Mall taking on Malice off the Violent Femme jammer line. As we head into jam number 10, Malice finds the inside line. Annie Mall also out of the pack. So Malice is going to swoop in backwards, trying to pick up at least 1 point, and does. So I want to make sure that you know that we have a digital bout program page with team rosters and other game information. Use your phone camera to scan one of the QR codes posted around the rink to view the program. Just Mary taking on Elastic. Elastic tries to wheedle in on the inside, but gets an escort into the infield. Just Mary looking for the outside. Is denied there. Elastic finds a way through the pack. Does pick up that lead jammer status, but here comes Annie Mall. Just Mary, sorry. Apologies, Mary. Elastic, little hop over. Does pick up the 4 points there and calls it. Carolina sits at 33, Panhandle United at 26. 16 minutes, 30 seconds left here in our first half. Fight Her Jet taking on Bag of Cats. Whew, what a lockdown. The defense absolutely unmoving, but that's a nice job there by Danny. Doing a little offensive work there for the jammer, trying to open up that tripod. It's just locked down. Fighter Jet gets a little recycle here back to the Violent Femme jammer line. Pack is getting spread out. Defenders will have to bridge. Also, we'll see one PanU defender head to the Peak Auto 2 penalty box. And after a lot of time, we have a lead. Bag of Cats. That was a lot of tough work. Cats through for 4 points. Fighter Jet still looking for that initial trip. Just really struggling there with that defense. Woo! So we had a quick star pass there at the very end of that jam, but Panhandle United unable to capitalize on it. 2 extra points on that last little trip there by Cats, and so that'll bring Carolina to 39. Pan U sits at 26. Just over 14 minutes here left in our first half. Malice taking on Animaniac. Animaniac bouncing through the pack. Already with lead jammer status. Malice going to try to keep on the pressure, but here comes Animaniac. Woo! Quick, quick, quick. Animaniac picks up 3 on that jam. Keeps Carolina scoreless. 10-point differential here. Carolina at 39, Panhandle United at 29. Animal taking on Elastic. Woo! Elastic actually gets the whistle for a penalty. Instead, that'll be, I think that's Animal, right? Animal with the star on. 103 should be, it's 103. So Animal is going to go ahead and get through the pack there, call it off and reset. They got a power start here for Panhandle United. So Pan U is electing to send out Animaniac for this power start. Carolina with 1 blocker and the jammer in the box as we start. So Animaniac through the pack already. Picks up lead. Big drawback there on Elastic. So Elastic out of the penalty box and through. Animaniac now on a scoring trip. Gets through, does pick up the full 4, I think, yes. Looking at the jam ref. So that is 39-36, 3 points. Differentiate these teams. 11 minutes left on the clock. That is Just Mary taking on Malice. And it will be a track cut, will be assessed to Malice. Lead is still available here. If Just Mary can get through this really, really tough defense. Waterfall blocking there, but there's Just Mary. Exits the pack, does pick up that lead jammer status there for Pan U. Nice job there for Carolina, killing the penalty. Just Mary not able to really capitalize on the power jam. Malice out of that penalty box, already through on the initial, but 4 points on the board for Just Mary. Just Mary going to call it from the floor. Does prevent Malice from putting it on the board. Picks up an additional 2 there. That puts Panhandle United in the lead. 42-39. Panhandle United. We have a timeout being called by Carolina. Or Panhandle. Someone. It's being called. But this timeout allows me to tell you about our nonprofit partner joining us today. Food Not Bombs Raleigh is a local chapter of an autonomous collective that gathers and distributes food wherever it is needed in our community. FNB believes that food is a right, not a privilege, and we have plenty to share. Please leave your contributions to our shared vegan food drive at their table in our vendor village. And speaking of really awesome merch, you need to go complete your roller derby flag collection today. Swing by the merch table in the back of the room there. We have new collegiate sweatshirts and a brand new design available today. Elastic's back on the line, facing off against Annie Mall. Pack moves up across turn 1. And with a little hop, Elastic is out. Has lead jammer status. Elastic through 4-4. Does put Carolina back in the lead now. Quick star pass on Panhandle side. That is to Mitty Gangster. Elastic is through. Picks up an additional 4 and calls that jam. (47-42) in favor of Carolina. We're ticking down to just over 8 minutes left here. This is our first half. What, that was our first half? Hey. That is Cats and Animaniac. Maniac already out of that pack, picking up lead jammer status. Big star bass there on Carolina side. That's Annie Banani. So Animaniac's going to go ahead and call that jam. So I think 4 points there for Panhandle United. That brings them within 1 point of Carolina. 47-46. 7 minutes left on the clock. That is Just Mary taking on Malice. Malice out of that pack, bursting through the seams, does pick up lead jammer status. Just Mary also out on the initial trip. Carolina sending one blocker to the Peak Auto penalty box. That is Elastic taking on Animal. So Elastic with the little spin move on the inside. Exits the pack. Picks up lead jammer. Animal looking for the pivot. Does find Whitney Houston. Whoa! Elastic trying to drive Whitney out. Whitney trying to throw some back. Little jammer contest there. Will be called off. That's 4 points for Carolina. And a Maniac taking on Bag of Cats. Woo! Carolina hanging on to Animaniac, who has picked up lead consistently in this game. Full contingency of players here as Animaniac gets recycled back behind the pivot line. Pat gets spread out here. And Animaniac recycled. Cats locked down. Pat gets spread out a little too far. Have to come in. All kinds of blockers heading to the Peak Auto penalty box for Carolina. And that leaves lead open for Animaniac. Whew, that was exhausting for everyone watching. So definite our slight track advantage here for Panhandle as we head into jam number 22. So we're going to have a little official timeout here as we clarify some things. But that gives me a great opportunity to remind you that after this game, if you want to meet our skaters, you can stick around. You come over here to the scoreboard after the game is over and get some autographs. And now we will have an official review called by Panhandle. Do you love roller derby? Yes. Do you want to be a part of the derby community? Absolutely. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram or check out our website, that's carolinarollerderby.com, to sign up for our next new skater program.
this derby.
Alrighty, so we're just clarifying a few things. Want to make sure that nothing was missed on the track here. We're under 3 minutes. What does your sign say, Danny? Happy birthday, Motorious. Oh, happy birthday, Motorious, from Illinois, watching on the stream. So it does look like that our officials have reached some sort of conclusion. So you see the little dot disappear from the scoreboard. So we know that Panhandle did not win their official review. That is Just Mary and Malice facing off on that Violent Femme jammer line. Just Mary does pick up that lead jammer status for Pan U. Malice able to complete the initial trip. So Just Mary is going to get out for the 4 points, pick up the 4, call that off. 5 points differentiate these teams. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left on the clock for this half. That is Animal taking on Elastic Ass off the Violent Femme jammer line. Pack is inching up around turn 1, but Elastic finds a lane. Animal also out of the pack on the initial trip. So Elastic called it, was able to pick up a point. 4 put on the board there for Pan U. That means we've got 56 to 54, only 2 points differentiate these two teams. 1 minute left on the clock here in our first half. Bag of Cats taking on Just Mary. Wow, Pack is really held up there at turn number 1. Not a lot of movements. Just Mary pushing against the front. Just when they get a little room, the whole pack collapses again. Whew. Just locked down. And Cats finally shakes everybody through. We were at turn number 3 before we got a lead. Whew. Just tremendous defense being played out there. Very nice star, very quick, very crisp star pass there. Whitney now with the star for Panhandle. Cats going to spin through. Does pick up 4 on that last trip. So 60 goes on the board for Carolina, 54 for Panhandle United. We are at intermission. Want to make sure that you stretch your legs, but come right back because we got a second half. We really want to thank our halftime sponsor. This halftime is brought to you by Spark Physical Therapy and Performance. Don't let physical setbacks stop you from living your best life. From sports injuries to post-op rehab, Spark PT can offer treatments and plans to help you get back to the activities you love. That's Spark PT. Recover faster, perform better. So we are under 2 minutes here, so you have a warning to find your comfortable chair as we head into the second half of our final game today. We certainly are glad you were able to join us this Saturday, this beautiful Saturday. So after this last game today, we hope that you'll join us downtown Apex for the game, after the game for an after party. Meet our skaters at Southern Peak Tap Room and Pizzeria on Richardson Road for some good food and drinks. So as we head into the second half, I want to remind you, a very close game here. Carolina All-Star sit at 60. Panhandle United sits at 54. Very close. Back and forth with the lead changes. We appreciate it. And that rolling whistle says we are getting ready for the second half. That's just Mary back on the line, facing off against Malice. It's Malice finding the inside line, picks up lead jammer. Malice through the pack, picks up the 4, calls it. Just Mary keeping the pressure on, but didn't quite put any points that time. 10-point differential now, 64-54 in favor of Carolina. And a Maniac taking on Elastic. Oh, almost through, but not quite. Denied. Both jammers looking for a seam, but it's Animaniac that gets out first. Does pick up that lead. Elastic trying to keep the pressure on, quickly coming around the track. Animaniac, not sure if Animaniac was able to get any hips. Nope. 0-0 jam. That is Cats. Excuse me, taking on Fighter Jet. Cats is through with lead jammer status. Fighter Jet contending with that defense. And we will have a cut track assessed there for Fighter Jet. So Bag of Cats control the track and a power jam. Panhandle doing a great job of really trying to kill that penalty. Cats is going to go ahead and call it off and reset. So this will be a power start here for Carolina. Carolina has elected to put Malice on the line for this power start. Malice very quickly picks up lead jammer. Now Malice in on that scoring trip. Malice just through and picks up that 4 points. Finder now out of the Peak Auto penalty box. Malice putting another 4 on the board. Star Pass has been completed now for Panhandle United. That's Annie Mel with the star, but Malice is going to go ahead and call it off. So 12-point run there for Malice. 80 points on the board for Carolina, 54 for Panhandle United. .5 minutes here. We're in the second half. That is just Mary on the line taking on Elastic Ass. Elastic quickly through before turn number 1 is through. Gets out for lead jammer. Just Mary completing the initial trip here. Elastic gonna call it. I think picked up the full 4. Yes. So Cass back on the line, picks it up against Animaniac. So Cats able to get out of that pack. Picks up lead jammer. Animaniac looking for the initial and does make it with a star sash. Cat's going to go ahead and pick up the, looks like 3 points there. Go ahead and call it. Keeps Animaniac from putting any points on the board. Looks like we do have a team timeout. So right after this game, we will do MVPs for both teams. And then if you want to meet our skaters, be sure to stick around. Come over here to the scoreboard, and you might even be able to get a few autographs. So that timeout will come to a close. We will be heading into jam number 7. That is Malice taking on Just Mary off the Violent Femme jammer line. Pack is getting spread out quite a bit. So Just Mary got one blocker to beat at the front of the pack. and makes it out. Lead jammer status goes to Panhandle United. Malice getting a drawback here on the near straightaway. So packs a punch, giving Malice all kinds of trouble there, but Malice able to pass off the star to Ash Whoopin. So just Mary will call that off, but not before putting, it looks like 6 total points on the board. $87.60 in favor of Carolina. Looks like we have an official review. Something.
They're all standing. Yeah, they're all standing there. So.
Time out. Good times. Alrighty, so that rolling whistle tells us that the team timeout is what that was. A team timeout has come to a close. That is Annie Mal taking on Elastic Ass off the jammer line. Annie Miles getting a little assist there. I think that's Whitney Houston doing the great offensive work there. But Elastic Ass is catching up to Annie Mal. Woo! Got a race. Annie Mal is going to call it off. Woo! Fast, fast. Yeah, we hate that door too. So that whistle takes us into jam number 9. And a Maniac taking on Bag of Cats. It's Cats on the inside. Picks up lead jammer status. And a Maniac will pick up a cut track and head to the Peak Auto penalty box. This is a power jam for Bag of Cats. Four points on the board so far from Cats. Got all kinds of bodies headed to the Peak Auto penalty box. Looks like track advantage Carolina just slightly. 2 blockers out there will be stretched out too far. They gotta let Cats go. That's another 4 on the board. And now everybody is released. Animaniac out of the pack now. I mean, out of the penalty box. Pardon. Coming in and quickly trying to, does force the call off. Cats able to put 1 more point on the board. That jam, 96 total. To Panhandle United, 60. We're under 20 minutes here in our second half. Just Mary and Malice off the Violent Femme jammer line. All kinds of bodies getting thrown out there on the straightaway. Malice finding the inside. Picks up lead. Just Mary with one blocker to beat does. So initial pass complete there. So Malice will go ahead and pick up the point, call it off. Inching up close to the 100-point mark here. 18 minutes, 50 seconds left here in our second half. Animal taking on Elastic. Seen this matchup before. Elastic with the, I guess, straightaway hop is what we're going to call that. Gets out. Lead jammer status. A quick star pass for Panhandle United. That goes to Mitchie Gangster. Elastic going to call that off. Wait to see what the official determines here. Looks like 2 there for Elastic. And a official timeout. Official timeout. Great. One last really big shout out to everyone who volunteered their time today to make this bout possible. These bouts is 2. Including our referees and non-skating officials. And we would not have a bout without our medical professionals on hand to make sure our skaters are safe and taken care of. Thank you, Larry, Michael, Nia, and Bear, for your time and expertise.
They did not hear me because they're up in somewhere.
Okay, we had to take a short pause there. Get everyone back into place. Alrighty, that rolling whistle tells us that we are getting ready to head into the next jam. And that is Fight Her Jet taking on Bag of Cats. And it will be, yep. Wow, all kinds of Carolina blockers headed to the Peak Auto penalty box. Bag of Cats trying to work against that defense, but just a lockdown brace tripod there from the Panhandle. And it will be a cut track. Now assessed for Fight Her Jet. So track advantage for Panhandle United, but a power jam here for Carolina. Cats finally exits the pack here as we head over turn 2. Does pick up that lead jammer status. So Cats working against that tripod, getting some assistance there, but just unable to break up enough to get through. I think that's Danny helping out there, Danny Banani. Really trying to get in there, break up the wall of folks, but Panhandle United just able to reform in front of the jammer. And now we've had a star pass. That's Whitney Houston with the star now for Panhandle. So Cats is getting the signal from the bench to go ahead and call it. But does pick up 4. Just Mary is taking on Malice off that Violent Femme jammer line. Seen this pairing before. Malice around the outside. Looks like it got a little assist from the hips of 99 Problems. Does pick up that lead. Malice is through, but Just Mary will pick up a penalty. We'll head to the penalty box. It's a power jam for Malice. Oh, Malice almost through, but got locked up. All right, friends, we are getting ready to start again with Derby. Elastic is on the line here for this power start. Elastic is through for lead. Just Mary already out of the penalty box and into the pack, already through the initial. Elastic with a scoring pass here. Both jammers eligible to put points on the board. Elastic through. Just Mary through. Both jammers coming around quickly. Elastic makes the little apex hop. Does pick up 4. Panhandle United also picks up 1. 13 minutes left on the clock here in our second half. Bag of Cats taking on Animaniac again off of that Violent Femme jammer line. Does look like Cats is lead, but gets reabsorbed there into that pack. Having to recycle. Now both jammers coming back behind the pivot line. So Cats is lead, but Animaniac, wow, backwards coming out. So Cats is going to go ahead and call that off. Carolina's going to reset here. Panhandle United going to get a fresh new jammer on the jammer line. That is Malice facing off against Animal. Can't tell if it's whistles or it looks like Malice will be headed to the Peak Auto penalty box on a high block. Animal has lead and will lose it due to a forearm. So again, we'll have a jammer swap. Animal will only sit as long as Malice was sitting. So we will go the full 2 minutes on this jam. So again, we will not have lead for this particular jam. We're just going to see how many points our jammers can put on the board. Malice shrugs off the hit from Mitchie Gangster and picks up 4. But Animal actually, I'm sorry, that's supposed to be the initial. Sorry, because they went to the penalty box. My apologies. Initial trip for both jammers. Now they are eligible for points. So pack gets stretched out so far, they have to let Malice go. And Animal will head back to the penalty box. Malice on a power jam. Malice gets in for 2 additional points there at the very end of that jam. 6-point run. Animal able to put up 2. So Elastic will be the chosen jammer for this power start. And Elastic able to get through. So Elastic is through 4-4. Annie Mall pops up out of the Peak Auto penalty box. Makes a quick star pass to Just Mary. Elastic jumping that apex right at turn 3. Puts 4 additional points on the board. 8-point total. 133.67. 8 minutes left on the clock here. Remember, right after this, we're going to do MVPs. Then we're all going to go to an after party. Just Mary back on the line for Panhandle United. That's Bag of Cats wearing the star for Carolina All-Stars. Whew. Very tough defense there. Bag of Cats out of the pack. Just Mary picks up a cut track. We'll head to the penalty box. Woo! Was that Vicious? Nick Vicious? Very good hit there. Sending Cats back to the back of the pack. Punch trying to run some interference there for Mitchie. Panhandle United really got hips on Cats there. Really nice penalty kill there. Cats was able to pick up a few more points there for Carolina All-Stars. 4 points, it looks like. We're ticking down to right over 6 minutes in our second half of our second game today. We appreciate your spending your Saturday with us here at XL Sports. And that is Whitney Houston wearing the star. Whitney has worn the star as pivot many times so far this game. And managed to pick up lead jammer status. Malice has got the star on there for Carolina, trying to keep the pressure on, but here comes Whitney into the pack. Whitney did call it. Yeah, 2 points on the board there. And we're under 5.5 minutes. And a Maniac taking on Elastic off that Violet Phantom jammer line. And a Maniac out first as lead. Nope, I'm sorry. Elastic is the one with lead. Elastic is the one with lead. They were coming out so quickly, it was hard to tell. But Elastic's going to go ahead and call it. Let some time elapse off the clock and call that off. No need to rush it. 4 minutes, 19 seconds left on the clock here in our second half. Katz is back on the line, facing off against Just Mary. Pack is getting spread out just a bit. Just Mary almost through the front, but does get escorted into that infield. Cycle back. We're still at turn 1. Looks like Katz was designated lead there, coming around turn 2. Just Mary looking to get through this Carolina tripod, but they're just locked down. Now Katz is coming in. Woo! Gets a little tap there by Whitney. And that pack gets spread out just a little too much, and they have to let Katz go. Katz is going to pick up an extra 4. Looks like we had a quick star pass right at the very end. Not sure we even got it to. Got the star pass off there for Panhandle United. Two and a half minutes left here in our game. Animal taking on Malice. Malice moves on the inside. Does pick up that lead jammer status. Woo! Almost through on that inside, but does roll over the tape. Ash Whipping gives a little escort to Animal to the outfield. And Animal will pick up that cut track, I think it was. So this will be a power start for Carolina. Just over 1 minute left here in our game. Elastic will be taking the start for this power start. Hopping over the last foot. Picks up lead jammer status. Elastic has completed the initial and now needs to get the points. Woo! Does pick up the full 4 there. Animal released from the Peak Auto penalty box. Woo! Elastic manages to get around Whitney Houston. Woo! All kinds of things happening up in there. So it looks like we have had a star pass to resting hit face for Panhandle United. Oh, wow. Elastic threw backwards right there in the corner of turn 4. Oh, my goodness. Elastic with an apex jump. Resting hip face with the star, trying to get through. Elastic picks up an additional 4, a 20-point run here for Elastic. And one more pass makes 24 points, the highest scoring jam of today. Our unofficial score is 168-69. As soon as we double check all of our scoring paperwork, we will tell you the official score. And that is our final score. We would like to invite Carolina to take your victory lap. And you all can come trackside to slap the very sweaty hands of these skaters. Carolina, you can go ahead and take your victory lap. And let's give a big round of applause for Panhandle United, who came up here and gave us a run for our money. Panhandle, you want to skate around? Come on. Let's do it. All right, we will be doing MVPs, and then we'll invite you to have a photo if you'd like.